Black, incarcerated man, beaten, has a bag put over his head. They're trying to conceal the video. Put it up for a man. I'm going to tell you a horrific story. It's going to make your blood boil. There's a video being kept from the public, and I want that damn video. It shows a naked inmate with a bag over his head being beaten and held down by correction officers until he stops breathing, according to his lawyer. Attorney Ron Murphy says the video shows the moments leading up to the March 2018 death of 31-year-old J. Allen Jones, an inmate at Garner Correctional in Newton, Connecticut at the time. According to the Root, before he was arrested and sent to Garner Correctional Institute, J. Allen Jones was homeless, living in various motels and cars, according to the News Times. The 31-year-old man was then charged for a 2013 robbery and sent to Garner to serve out a 10-year sentence. Jones, however, would never make it to see his release date, as he was killed behind bars just a few years later in 2018. In June 2018, an autopsy was done. The autopsy ruled his death to be a homicide, meaning somebody else caused his death, saying he, quote, experienced a sudden death during a struggle and restraint with chest compression, plus pepper spray exposure, and a person with hypertension and a cardiovascular disease. That's according to Newton B. 2018 statement released by the Department of Correction, the DOC, said no excessive force had been used, leading to Jones' death. There's more. 5 months after the death, Jones' girlfriend, Lynette Richardson, and his mother, Jessica, filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the State Department of Correction, citing excessive force, according to the Newton B. Now, before I get into more of this, I want you to understand the power that you have as a citizen. Once they realized they were not going to get proper answers, they filed a lawsuit. What does a lawsuit do? Lawsuit is not always about money. A lawsuit brings people on the record. It puts them under oath. It gets them on the hot seat. And if they lie in their affidavit or their testimony, that is then also a criminal offense. Many are not willing to lie for their comrades while being under oath. Some are. Put up the pictures for a mass here. In a motion to have the disturbing video released, Jones' lawyers say police are seen repeatedly beating, pepper spraying, and even throwing Jones to the ground, according to the CT Insider. Does that look like no force to you? Of course not. The footage later shows Jones completely naked, handcuffed, with an irritant, soaked bag over his head. Correction officers wheeled J. Allen Jones out of his cell after beating him. Ron Murphy, one of the two lawyers representing Jones, said the officers visible in the footage, quote, engaged in excessive force, which caused J. Allen to become unconscious, and then engaged in deliberate indifference to J. Allen's obvious and serious medical needs. Jones was previously diagnosed with schizophrenia. That's according to the Daily Mail. Jones' lawyer Murphy and Paul Spinella alleged the criminal defendants, 2 correctional supervisors, 6 correction officers, and 2 Garner Medical Unit employees attacked Jones, kneeled on top of him for over 8 minutes until he was visibly motionless. The medical officials charged allegedly failed to perform life-saving measures on the victim, according to Newton B. I want you to put up the people who are supposed to make things like this come to full transparency in the light of justice. You're looking at the Assistant Attorney General, Janelle Medeiros, who told the judge, quote, "There's no evidence to show that the staff actually knew Mr. Jones suffered from a medical condition as reported by News Times. Commissioner Angel Curtis currently runs the Connecticut Department of Corrections." Let's be very clear what's happening. You already have a cover-up, which means evidence of a guilty conscience. You already have significant pivot from the issue at hand. So when you have a prosecutor saying, well, there's no evidence they knew of the other medical conditions, let's deal with that for just a moment. There were actual medical personnel there. The correction officers and the medical personnel, they have what's called a duty of responsibility, meaning either you knew or you should have known. You knew or you should have known. You have a duty of care here. So it doesn't matter if you actually knew or not. Because of your position, you either knew or you were supposed to know by virtue of your duty. That's number one. So the prosecutor is making a false argument. Any first-year law student can break down that argument in a moment. Second, the reality is this. Regardless of any other medical condition, if you beat a person and suffocate a person, regardless of medical condition, can die. Once again, you should know that, period, no matter what, by virtue of your duty. So here we are. Jackson, another horrific crime, in my opinion, that has gone really unnoticed, untouched. There's a video, and they're trying to make sure that individuals look the other way and think, well, what you see is not really what you get here, but that's a damn lie. What say you?
Well, not only is it a lie, but, they can't even say what you see isn't what you get because, the video's hidden. And when it comes to the situation, there's really not that much to analyze. They just felt like brutally torturing a man and killing him. I mean, what else is there to talk about? Why would you put a bag over someone's head and then hit them with batons? What do you think is going to happen if something goes down like that? And then, again, they're not showing the video. So there's really nothing to question about that. But the point of it all is that this is just more of the status quo. A couple weeks ago when Marcellus Williams wrongfully got his life taken by Mike Parson, the governor here in the state of Missouri that I was born and raised in and that I'm in right now. Why did he do that? Because that's the status quo to him. Because it's just about racism. It's just about upholding might versus right and whites on top of society. And, look at the demographics. So these types of jobs, you look at, like if you're a prison guard, maybe people who work in nursing homes, people who work in like foster areas, a lot of these positions obviously these jobs attract all types of people, but they can often attract people who are nefarious because they would look the other way. You got prisoners. Oh, generally society looks the other way. You have people, elderly people in old folks' home. Most people aren't paying much attention to that. When it comes to foster children, a lot of the time, these are unidentified people when it comes to society at large. So these are unfortunately some of the people that get taken advantage of most in society, and also areas where we need to pay more attention so that things like this don't happen as often, because this is not a one-off. This definitely is not a one.
And you can't dismiss this fact. They likely calculated he doesn't have a family. He was homeless. He doesn't have a community advocating for him. So they did to him as they please. Well, he does have a family, does have a community. We're going to continue to advocate for justice in this case. I told a group yesterday that there are two types of people in the world, either thermostats or thermometers. A thermometer will be the person that simply tells you the temperature. And they don't give a damn about changing it. A thermostat always wants to change the temperature. If you want to change systems like this, you become a thermostat. And you transform those systems from the inside out.